in remembrance of Myron May. Um, Myron May had put out 3 videos, which I put together in order. Describes gang stalking very, very good, and describes what's going on with him. The reason I'm posting this video is because I was rewatching his videos, and he says to remember me, please get the word out and get these videos out, and pass them on. So that's what I'm doing. It's a tragic story of another target individual uh, who was pushed over the edge by this program, which reminds me before I go into this, and then I'm going to merge the 3 videos in order of Myron May to remember him. And I'm going to be, if you have any TIs that you'd like to be remembered and a memorial about them made, please send their information to me at targetedtestimonies at pm.me or highlyspunk@gmail.com. So Myron May made 3 videos. Last words, he knew what he was going to do. He thought it was going to make a difference. And on November 14th at 7:51 a.m. before he went to Florida State and opened fire, which, by the way, any TI who is getting voice to skull, getting pressured, wants to go act out in violence, or getting thoughts of violence, don't go do it. It's not worth it. In the end, it's just another TI gone to the system, and um, it makes us look bad. Myron May was a very sane individual. However, they were really messing with him. Um, at 7:51 a.m. the day of, he said, also, has anyone ever been encouraged by your handler to kill with a promise of freedom? So it sounds like to me the V2K promised him freedom uh, if he went and killed. But not only that, I think he was doing these videos also to get the word out. But all that's irrelevant. Myron May was a very smart person, and that's what I want to remember. He was not crazy. They tried to deem him crazy. He was very intelligent. He graduated from Florida State University in 2005 before attending Texas Tech University Law School, and he practiced law in Texas and New Mexico. Um, as you can see from these pictures, he was very good at track in school, one of the best. I think he set a record in school in track. It's probably been beat by now, but still, this dude was um, he was a very special person, as all TIs are, very smart, intelligent person, and he was labeled crazy. And I bet he was smarter than all the people who label him as crazy. So this is in memory of him. I'll be doing a memorial for Lynette in May. Lynette was my friend who got murdered. She was a TI, and she was the one where they would shock my teeth every time I talked to her. I lost 2 teeth because of that. Every time I'd get on the phone with her, they would shock my teeth. Then what they would do was they would go in her phone and block my number, so I would have to go on Messenger, tell her that my number was blocked again, and she'd have to unblock me. And I'm going to mention what I'm fixing to mention, then I'm going to merge the videos in so y'all can see his description of gang stalking, his last words. He knew what he was going to do when he was making these videos, and he gives hints in there. Most of y'all probably already know him. Anyway, it came to my memory last night that there's this woman who was anonymous, and she got my number off YouTube because I used to be dumb enough to put my number on YouTube, but and she would call me because she knew I was blacklisted, and she would say, David, and she knew what city I was in and everything. I was in Pensacola, Fort Myers some of the time when she done it, and this just came to my memory last night. So I appreciate you, whoever she was. She was an anonymous TI who would call in food at places and have me go pick it up to eat because she knew I was blacklisted and homeless shelters or nobody would help me. So anyway, whoever you are, if you're watching, I really appreciate you. Them times you called, I really needed food. You were a godsend. And I really appreciate you. I'd like to know who you are so I could, tell you face to face. But, if you want to remain anonymous, I understand. Just know that that really helped me through some hard times. Um, so Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling and merge Myron May's video in. And I mean, yeah, his last 3 videos, his last words. So I just thought I was watching one of his videos and just thought I would do a memorial on him today. So, because all TIs need to be remembered. So God bless Myron May. And like I said, if you're experiencing V2K, stalking, street theater, weapons attacks, don't commit suicide and don't go out and do acts of violence. It's not the answer. Anyway, God bless.
It's with a heavy heart that I am in front of you now to make this video. Kind of my last words. It's really unfortunate that I have to make this video. You see, I am a victim of covert harassment and electronic harassment and gang stalking. I'm what's called a targeted individual. There are thousands of targeted individuals in the United States of America, and we unfortunately are subjected to some pretty heinous treatment, which I'll detail in this video. You can find out more about what a targeted individual is simply by Googling or YouTubing the words targeted individual or gang stalking, and you'll see the videos and postings and articles and stuff like that about what a targeted individual is. And on YouTube, you'll actually hear the stories of other targeted individuals, the videos that they posted about what their experiences are. They won't be that different from what you hear from me today. I think mine might be a little bit more comprehensive in explaining exactly what a targeted individual is and what a targeted individual experiences on a day-to-day basis. So I'll just go straight to it. Talking about gang stalking in general, which is what a targeted individual experiences. The goal of gang stalking is literally to drive a targeted individual crazy. It's a very comprehensive program, and sadly it's a government program. Its roots are in programs known as MK Ultra and COINTELPRO, which should have been eliminated, but unfortunately they are still around. They're not only still around, but they're actually far more comprehensive and more detailed than they were even when those programs were popular. But like I said, the goal is literally to isolate the person, make them destitute and financially unstable to the point where they can't take care of themselves. Many targeted individuals live in homeless shelters and on the street. And they employ various tactics to accomplish their goal of destroying targeted individuals. The most common experience that you'll hear is, and why the term gang stalking comes about, is because they'll have people follow you around. Whenever you go into public places, like if you're driving on the street, people in cars will follow you around, and they make themselves very known that they're there and they are present and they are looking at you. If you go any public place, like going shopping or anything like that, they'll follow you around the stores. And as sick as this may sound, I've even had stalkers follow me into church while I was in Las Cruces and in Houston. I've had stalkers follow me into church to harass me. That's how sick this program is. It's literally to keep the targeted individual agitated, stressed out, and never really have their mind at ease, to make them paranoid. They employ isolation tactics. They basically try to convince your family, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers that they should be keeping an eye on you for whatever reason. They do this. Some of them they pay off to keep an eye on you, to look at you in strange ways. They do this through blackmail. They'll blackmail individuals into stalking you and harassing you, looking at you. And they do this to people who actually are real criminals. Targeted individuals are typically just regular Joes, everyday, ordinary, innocent people. And somehow we've ended up on this ungodly, evil list of people who have their lives literally destroyed on a day-to-day basis. Another way that they coerce everyday citizens into participating in harassing targeted individuals is that they'll tell them lies like you're under investigation for something, or you've committed a crime, or they should keep an eye on you because you're crazy. And as you can see right now, I am totally not crazy. I'm completely sane, but they've employed these tactics against me as well to try to make me appear to be a crazy person. To the targeted individual who hasn't yet discovered that they're a targeted individual, or doesn't know exactly what it means to be a targeted individual, this experience can be pretty troubling, because all you do is you just notice that people are paying extra attention to you. People are staring at you in strange ways and stuff like that, and that can make you very uneasy naturally. There's a saying that people do anything for money, and basically if they're doing it not only for money but also based on a lie, it's weird because they get this sort of altruistic thing because they think they're helping to prevent crime or something like that, so they have that altruistic feeling, plus they get money for it. But what they don't realize is that many of those people are just participating in an evil, ungodly program that's designed to debilitate people like me, everyday ordinary citizens. And to be honest, it's just not fair because we didn't do anything to end up on this list. Eventually, due to the targeted individual's own fear and apprehension, as well as his friends, coworkers' apprehension that's been given to them in a false way, the targeted individual starts to withdraw and isolates himself, and he's alone, and that basically helps them to continue with the gang stalking program, which is designed to destroy them. So I'm going to talk about some of the particular gang stalking methods that are utilized to harass targeted individuals. The first one I want to talk about is called anchoring. Basically, with anchoring, and this will sound very strange the way I explain this, but you have what's called control panel stalkers. These are the people who are basically in an operations center, monitoring all the targeted individuals throughout the United States of America. And then you have street level stalkers. These are the people that they actually employ to interact with targeted individuals on a day-to-day basis. But with anchoring, they will set up situations and scenarios to try to convince the targeted individual that a particular person or a particular group is the one that's actually harassing them. For example, I've heard targeted individuals say that they thought everybody in the fire department was out to get them. In my particular scenario, what they do for me is most of the people who harass me and interact with me are wearing sunglasses and stuff like that, very, very dark sunglasses, and they'll make their presence very known. They'll look at me in weird ways to try to make me paranoid or arouse fear in me or something like that. But also, one thing that they did with me is try to convince me that my neighbors were the ones who were actually harassing me. When I would be in my apartment at night, and they were very successful at this for about 2 months. 2 months before I realized that I was actually a targeted individual, or what a targeted individual even was. I would hear voices in my apartment explaining what it was that I was doing. If I went to the kitchen, they'd say stuff, oh, he's headed to the kitchen now. Or if I went to the bathroom, they're like, oh, he's headed to the bathroom. And this sounds bad, but one particular time I didn't wash my hands, they're like, look at him. He doesn't even wash his hands when I was in the bathroom after I used the bathroom. This is the type of stuff that they do. And because I'm hearing these voices, I'm thinking, oh my God, somebody is listening to me. And naturally, you think that it's the person closest to you. So I thought it was my neighbors above me, that somehow they had installed a video camera in my apartment. And I realized that later that wasn't the case, but I'll explain in the video later exactly what that is that gave me that false belief. The next method they use that I want to talk about is called briding. Briding can be very irritating, and it sounds just like what it is. When you're driving on the road, for example, a person may flash their bright lights in your face. Like when you're oncoming traffic, people will have their bright lights on you. Now, it's not unusual, obviously, to experience somebody with their bright lights on you. I mean, it's not unusual at all. People often forget, that their brights are on when they're riding at night. And then, you just give them that quick flash, and they'll flick it back to the regular dimmer lights. But with briding, if you give them that quick flash, they don't actually click it back to the regular dimmer lights. They'll keep on the bright lights. And this is not something, it's not like a one-time occurrence. This, you expect to have something like that on a long trip happen once or twice just because that's what happens. It's happenstance. But this will happen like 10 times in one short trip. Not only with oncoming traffic, but people will come up behind you, and basically when they're tailgating you and they have their bright lights on, individuals will come up really quickly and pass you, and then as they're passing you, they'll flick their bright lights on so they're shining your side mirrors and stuff like that. That's briding. Briding takes another form as well. When you're in your home, individuals will shine bright lights into the windows of your home. For example, they might pull up in your driveway and shine very bright lights into the door or windows of your home. It's not unusual for that type of thing to happen. People do get lost and have to turn around, but this will happen several times in one night. And basically, that's just their way of letting you know that they are present and that it's a way of harassment, that, your mind can never really be at ease. You'll always be paranoid because, there's always somebody there to interact with you in these strange ways to arouse fear in you and not let your mind be at ease. The next method that they utilize in gang stalking is what I would call a noise campaign. This can be just as irritating as briding. Basically, the targeted individual is subjected to a constant bout of noise that is never ending. It's designed to keep the targeted individual on edge. It happens at all times of the day, and it's exacerbated at nighttime. I mean, it's really, really bad at nighttime because the goal is to keep the targeted individual from getting sleep, which is what human beings need. We naturally need sleep for our body's natural restoration. So the goal is to prevent you from sleeping so that you'll be anxious and agitated and edgy. And basically just your stress hormones will be through the roof, and which only exacerbates those feelings of paranoia and fear and stuff like that. So how do they do that? Again, the particular ways that I've experienced and that I've heard other targeted individuals talk about is like there'll be loud music all around them, like from their neighbors and stuff like that. Cars will be passing by constantly at very rapid paces, making noises and blowing their car horns and stuff like that. Your neighbors around you will be screaming and talking loudly. This can be really irritating if you live in an apartment complex. And the craziest tactic that they use to generate noise is they do it through machine-generated sounds, things like fake dogs barking or chickens crowing and duck calls and stuff like that. Just really strange things to just constantly generate noise so that you can never really get relaxation as a targeted individual. And like I said, they accomplish these tasks by paying your neighbors, lying to your neighbors, telling them you did something wrong, and so their neighbors actually think that they're helping and stopping a crime or some sort of investigation or something like that. Or they blackmail your neighbors if your neighbors actually have done something wrong or something like that. My personal experiences with a noise campaign, I want to talk about a little bit about that. The one I want to talk about most is the one that made me actually realize that I was a targeted individual. After experiencing so much harassment in Las Cruces, New Mexico, where I was living at the time for a while, I decided I was going to go to Houston just to get away for a while. I had several friends in Houston. That's where I used to live and where I used to work. So I went to go visit my friend Kimberly Snag, and while I was in Houston, I was staying in Kimberly's mom's house, which is in Fifth Ward. a real quiet neighborhood, mostly old people, um, residential area. But while I was there, every 10 minutes, cars would be flying down the street, just flying down the street, making at rapid paces, making loud noise. And about every 30 minutes or so, I would hear car horns, like people blowing their car horns. And the goal was obviously to keep me under the noise campaign and not really get to relax. And the strangest thing, and this is the thing that really piqued my mind to, hey, there's something more going on here. This is kind of crazy. Behind the house, I kept hearing this strange cock-a-doodle-doo noise of like a rooster. But it was the same cock-a-doodle-doo without any variation to it. So it was obvious that it was like a machine and it wasn't a real rooster. And on top of that, it was like from 2 to, it was nonstop, but I noticed it when it was like from 2 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon, which is kind of atypical for a rooster to be crowing nonstop from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. And this went on for several days because I stayed in Kim's mom's house for like 3 or 4 days, and it went on for several days, the cars and the rooster and all that. And that's the thing that really made me realize, you know what, something more is going on here than, you know, me just having these bad experiences in like Las Cruces. And when I was in Houston, people continue to follow me around in like stores and stuff like that too, and really make their presence felt. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. Some of the other noise campaign experiences I had when I was in Las Cruces, my neighbors were constantly making noise. I lived in this apartment complex, Quail Ridge Apartments, for a year and a half, and I never had any issues with noise. But in the last few months that I was there, it was constantly noise around me. My neighbors were constantly playing loud music, constantly talking loud and screaming and stuff like that. And one particular night, the neighbor above me was playing music really, really loud. So I didn't want to be that neighbor that complains on everyone. So what I did was I just put some earplugs in my ear and tried to nestle in and go to sleep. Shortly after I put these earplugs in my ear, my bed actually is on the wall adjoining one of my neighbors, the neighbor that was behind me. And the headboard is literally on that adjoining wall. As soon as I put the earplugs in, I started hearing these extremely loud sex sounds. Now, mind you, I've lived here a year and a half. I've slept in my apartment a year and a half, and I've never heard any noises come out of this apartment, sex or otherwise. But on this particular night, well, I'd heard for those few months, I heard music and stuff like that, and loud talking and screaming. But on this particular night, as soon as I put the earplugs in, these loud sex sounds just started coming out of nowhere. So that kind of let me know, okay, this is part of this stupid harassment that I'm experiencing. And another noise campaign experience I had, this one is particularly bad and particularly devastating because it's actually from a family friend, and that was very hurtful. But I was staying at my friend Monica Johnson's home with her family. And I think I know why they participated in my stalking. And I hate to spill the beans on anybody, but, you know, this is kind of my last words. But her husband, Marshall, smokes marijuana. And so I think, honestly, that they were blackmailed into participating in my stalking on some sort of fear that he would, you know, face criminal prosecution for marijuana possession or marijuana use or something like that. But what happened while I was there is that, and this wasn't the first time I stayed in their home, by the way, so this is completely atypical. But while I was there, everyone was talking really, really loudly and screaming at all hours of the night. There were 3 TVs on in the house, and they were on full blast, just blaring. I was trying to sleep on the couch in the living room, and Monica and Marshall's bedroom is actually downstairs. They had their TV on in the bedroom, and it was just blaring on full blast. And then at about 3 a.m., Monica came out the room, walked outside, and then came back in, slammed the door, was screaming at the top of her lungs about how her daughter Brittany's red SUV had just been repossessed because she missed a payment. And it was so strange because I don't know how she could have heard from where she was at in the house. Anybody, any car come up and any tow truck come up to repossess the car, because I actually would have had a better vantage point, and there's nothing wrong with my hearing to have heard a tow truck. I heard no tow truck whatsoever, but what I did hear was her making all sorts of noise, basically to try to keep me from relaxing and getting any sleep that particular night. The next harassment technique I want to talk about is ghosting. And this isn't actually one that I experienced, but other targeted individuals, when you watch their videos, they'll talk about it, and you'll get to hear their stories. But basically, this is where they will rearrange a targeted individual's personal belongings. For example, might break into their house, which in and of itself is wrong. They'll break into their house, rearrange their furniture, or rearrange things on their desk or in their bedroom. They'll actually rearrange lawn ornaments and stuff like that are in the yard. So when the targeted individual returns back to their home, they see that things are sort of out of place. And that obviously arouses fear and paranoia and apprehension and stuff like that, to further exacerbate this evil, ungodly program that they participate in to try to harass targeted individuals. The next technique I want to talk about is called mimicry. This involves when a targeted individual encounters one of their stalkers, the stalker will actually do everything literally do everything, the same movements, same motions that the targeted individual does. So it's very irritating. And these particular stalkers make their presence very known. I had this experience once when I was in Weewaw at the Easy Serve gas station. I pulled into the gas station to pump some gas. And when I pulled in, this guy comes from behind the pump next to me, and he has on these dark sunglasses, really dark sunglasses, which is my particular stimuli that they've used in my stalking experience. But these really dark sunglasses, he looks at me, and then he starts waving his hands and moving his head to try to basically get my attention. Hey, I'm here. And I ignored him at first, and then I went to go start washing my window. So I'm washing the front window. As I start washing my front window, he starts washing his front window, and he's looking at me while he's washing his front window with these dark shades on. So then I move to the side window, and he moves to the side window, and he's looking at me with these dark shades on and washing his window. And it was really creepy. Everything I did, he did. But, I ignored it. That's just one of the things that targeted individuals experience, is this kind of harassment to try to make you frustrated or angry or paranoid or nervous, or, start to kind of question, what in the world is going on with me. But I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's nothing going on with me. I mean, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but one of power, one of love, and one of a sound mind. And I thank him for having a sound mind. I know that nothing is going on with me, and that it was absolutely just part of this evil, ungodly program. Next thing I want to talk about, technique I want to talk about, is called sensitization. And this one is pretty critical for the overall targeted individuals harassment program. This refers to basically, they want the targeted individual to associate a particular stimuli with their harassment. For example, whenever you're out in the public as a targeted individual, if you encounter people wearing blue baseball caps, you start to associate blue baseball caps with you being harassed. So that way, going forward, anytime you see a person in a blue baseball cap, you'll instantly think, is this person here to harass me? In my particular situation, they used dark sunglasses as my stimuli. And it worked very, very well at first. I got to the point where every time I saw someone in dark sunglasses, I would kind of freak out. I would be looking at them extra because I thought that person was there to harass me. This is before I knew I was a targeted individual. After I knew I was a targeted individual and realized that this was just part of the game, perception is reality, I was able to calm myself down. I still was paranoid. I'd see people in dark sunglasses. Even now, I see people in dark sunglasses and they get extra attention from me because that's part of the game. But then I just remind myself, look, I'm a targeted individual. This is part of the game. This is perception. This perception is reality. And I'm able to kind of calm those fears. The next technique I want to talk about is called mobbing. Uh, and this particular technique happens most often when a target starts to realize that maybe there's something more going on to their experiences that meets the eye, or maybe the target is already in kind of a flustered or frustrated state. Then you experience what's called mobbing, and that's when you get harassed by several stalkers at one time. And this is basically designed as a scare tactic to really drive the target into paranoia. This happened to me on several occasions because I have a pretty low anger threshold. This happened to me on so many occasions. If I'd be driving along the street and 5-10 cars will pass by all at the same time. Everybody has on dark shades, and they're not watching the road. They're watching me. Like, they're not looking at the road like a normal driver would do. As they pass by, they're looking directly at me. So it's very creepy. But that's what mobbing is. It also happened to me a few times in the grocery store where people would come with dark shades on, and sometimes not with dark shades on. They just come very much into my personal space in a way that's unnatural, not the way a normal person would shop or a normal person would behave even outside the grocery store. And they'd be looking directly at me to make sure, their presence is felt, their presence is known to the targeted individual. The next gang stalking technique I want to talk about is called hacking. Hacking is just like what it sounds. Basically, they will download viruses and malware onto the targeted individual's computers and other electronic devices like their cell phone and stuff like that to either try to damage files, or more importantly, what I think it is to try to gain remote access to their electronic devices so that they can modify things, delete things, and manipulate the targeted individual's files and data. Talk about some of my experiences with hacking. When I first realized that there was maybe more going on than meets the eye in my particular scenario, and I started to come to the realization that I was a targeted individual, viruses and malware were downloaded onto my Toshiba laptop. I would literally be working on my computer on something, and then all of a sudden my mouse would start moving and be clicking on things totally out of my control. Like, I'm not touching the mouse or anything, and the mouse is just kind of wiggling around and clicking on things and opening things and closing things and all sorts of. It was a very weird experience. And of course, again, is designed to cause fear and apprehension and paranoia. One night in particular, I was trying to buy a book by Renee Pittman Mitchell, who is a targeted individual who has written several books on her experience as a targeted individual, advice books and stuff like that, how to cope with this experience. And I was trying to purchase this book from Amazon, and my phone, the browser on my phone kept closing on its own. And mind you, I've had this phone now. I don't have that phone anymore, but at the time I had that phone for about just shy of 2 years, and I'd never experienced anything like that at all when I was on my browser. But I'd be on my phone and trying to buy this book, and all of a sudden the browser just closes, just shuts down. Another experience I had with hacking, I recently moved from Las Cruces, New Mexico to go back home, hoping that all of this would end when I went back home. So I moved to Weehawken, Florida. It's a small town, about 1,700 people. And I might be being generous saying 1,700 people. But I pretty much figured in this small town, there's no way they can stalk me. There's no way they can bother me. I'm fine. One of the ways that they did, I got a job working at the Taunton Family Children's Home, doing some small legal work and stuff like that for them. And one of the projects I had, there was a mom who had her daughter stolen away from her by the child's biological father, who had not been in her life for a very long time. And so I was working on some family law documents to try to get her daughter returned to her. And I'm not a family lawyer, and this was based on Tennessee law, and I'm not licensed to practice in Tennessee. So I'd spent about a day working on this particular document. And when I finished the document, they basically shut down the computer. The mouse starts moving and closing out things and shut down the computer. So when I turn the computer back on, thank God, the auto recovery saved my document. And I didn't lose all the file and all the data I had been working on because I was working under a time deadline. And that just goes to show how heartless and evil that this program really is. I mean, I'm trying to help a mom get her child back, and you're taking over my computer to try to kill the document. I mean, that's the kind of evil ungodliness we're dealing with this particular program, in my experience. After that experience, I went to Mr. David and Miss Abby, who run the children's home, and told them, look, something was going on with my computer. And they had a tech guy come in and download a bunch of antivirus software, and he'd show me that. And so since that has happened, I haven't really had to deal with the hacking aspect of things anymore, like I had to prior. The thing I want to talk about now is the most critical aspect of gang stalking, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's kind of the hardest to believe as well, but it's real. It's very real. It sounds very science fiction. It's very crazy, and it's the linchpin that kind of holds their whole program together and enables them to keep it a secret from everybody else in society. And it's called electronic harassment. This is by far the most creepy and frightening weapon in the stalker's arsenal. Some of this technology is detailed in a book written by Dr. Robert Duncan. This book is called Project Soul Catcher: Secrets of Cyber and Cybernetic Warfare Revealed. Dr. Robert Duncan actually designed a lot of the technology, or participated in designing a lot of this technology, and so he details it in this book. And that's how you know it's real, because there is a legitimate professional scientist who talks about the technology and its capabilities. And I would encourage all of you to read that book. If you have questions and you're questioning whether or not this is even possible, read the book and you'll see that it very much is possible. First thing I want to talk about is nanofibers. Through nanotechnology and chemtrails, the control panel stalkers who are basically in an operations center watching the target individuals are able to monitor and induce all sorts of things in a target individual. So this is very freaky. They're able to manipulate a target individual's bodily functions, things like their pain receptors, their stress hormones, stuff like that. It is absolutely creepy. They're able to speed up a target individual's heart rate to very rapid speeds and stuff like that. And they're able to, and they also have in their arsenal something that's called direct energy weapons. And I'll explain that in a little bit. In my experience with a direct energy weapon, it is so frightening. But here's been my personal experience with electronic harassment, and particularly the nanofiber aspect of it. I've actually been induced to have panic attacks on 2 separate occasions. This is before I realized I was a targeted individual. I shouldn't say panic attacks, what I thought were panic attacks. Basically, my heart rates just started speeding up very, very rapidly. It was just going at full blast. And so it kind of freaked me out. I thought I was actually having a heart attack. And so I went to the hospital. I had the ambulance called. I was at work. I had the ambulance called to my job. They took me to the hospital, and they said, oh, nothing's wrong. Everything's normal. Your EKG is just fine. And I'm thinking, well, how can my EKG be fine? Because my heart rate was going 90 miles an hour, before you got here. And so I just resolved that I was having panic attacks. But now I know a little bit more about the technology, I realized that I was not having panic attacks. And this is kind of when the harassment first started, and that this was just part of the game. It was part of this sick game to make me paranoid and to drive me crazy. The direct energy weapons. I mean, this is horrible. This is absolutely horrible, guys. And I would not wish this on even my worst enemy. It is such a frightening experience. Um, I got hit with direct energy weapons twice. And I can just explain to you what I felt. That's the most I can do because I don't fully understand the technology. But literally, in one moment, I'm just fine. And in the next moment, I'm extremely intensely hot. And I have like this tingling feeling all over, literally all over my body, where I've just been heating up, almost like I'm cooking inside, like my insides are cooking. And I broke out in a sweat. And it only lasted for like a minute or two, but it leaves you so dizzy and disoriented and just out of it that, I mean, you're frightened. You are frightened and you're wondering like, what in the world is going on with me? And that's the direct energy weapons, and that's what I experienced there. And like I said, I wouldn't wish that on even my worst enemy. And the last technology I want to talk about, and this is Dr. Duncan's, really his work. A lot of this is his work. And this is what's known as psychotronic weapons. I would encourage any of you to kind of just Google that term, psychotronic weapons. And this is voice of God weapons or voice of God technology and image induction technology. And this sounds very freaky in science fiction, but it's also very real. Again, I would encourage you to take a look at his book if you don't believe me, or just YouTube Dr. Robert Duncan, and you may even find some videos about his technology on YouTube. But basically, through the use of microwave radio frequency radiation, control panel stalkers are able to literally induce sound into the cochlea of a targeted individual's ear to make it appear as though they are hearing voices. And I know that sounds totally crazy, but trust me, get the book, find out something about Robert Duncan, and you'll see that it's real. And this is the linchpin of the entire gang stalking program. Because to the target individual that doesn't know that they're a target individual or doesn't know exactly how this technology works and fits into the whole scheme of them being a target individual, all you know is that you're hearing voices. You're hearing voices in your ear. And so you start to think maybe you're schizophrenic or you're having some sort of psychotic episode. And if you try to explain to somebody else, hey, I'm hearing voices in my ear, then naturally they're going to have the same conclusion. They're going to think, okay, you're being schizophrenic or you're having some kind of psychotic episode. And reality is that you're not. It's these voice of God weapons. And this only serves to further isolate the person with their isolation tactics, because if you tell, a friend or a family member or a coworker or acquaintance, hey, I'm hearing these voices, those people are naturally going to want to stay away from you. And because you're trying to come to them for help or explain to them something you have, then you're going to naturally withdraw when you're pushed away like that. And so you're only further isolated. But please, again, review the book. You'll see that it's real. The next thing I want to talk about is the image induction technology. It's sort of based on the same principles in biotechnology as the voice of God weapons. Control panel stalkers are literally able to induce images into a targeted individual's mind. This is typically done while the targeted individual is sleeping. They'll induce images into your mind, which of course, ends up turning into one of your dreams or something like that. It's really creepy. And it works in reverse. As creepy as this may sound, it works in reverse as well. Control panel stalkers are able to see any images originating in the target individual's mind, both actual images and fictional images. And by actual images, I mean, like literally, they can see what I see out of my own two eyes. They can see what I'm looking at out of my own two eyes through this image induction technology. But they can also see fictional images. So any thoughts of images that are in my mind. So if I'm thinking about something in my memory, something that happened several years ago, and I have an image of that in my mind, then they can actually see that too. Or if I'm imagining something, there's an image that I'm imagining in my mind, they can actually see that too. And I know that sounds very science fiction, very crazy, but again, look at Dr. Robert Duncan's book. You'll see that it's not. the effectiveness of the voice of God weapons to the overall gang stalking agenda and program to harass targeted individuals. I want to explain that to get you to understand, hopefully not just you, but also targeted individuals to understand how this all fits together. Because it's sort of the linchpin. Control panel stalkers are able to, just like they can induce sound into a target's ear, they can induce sound into a street level stalker's ear as well. And that way, this allows control panel stalkers to, in a very discreet way, let street level stalkers know about the presence of a targeted individual in their general area. And they're able to give them directions on how to interact with the target. Things like, you should back up, or you should look at him, or he's coming up on your right. To the targeted individual who doesn't know anything about the technology, they just wonder, oh my God, how do these people keep finding me? And how do they know where I'm at? But reality is that it's through this technology. Fortunately, I was able to figure out through researching online, I was able to figure out about this technology. Unfortunately, many targets have not, and so it only adds to their paranoia, and some of them probably never will, and that's just kind of sad. It only further exacerbates kind of the stress and paranoia and stuff that they experience on a day-to-day basis. And for this part of the video, that's all, and I'll pick up a little bit later with more. Thank you. This is part 2 of my story as a targeted individual. Again, it's with the heavy heart that I have to make this video. And I want to begin this part with the prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you first and foremost for life. I thank you for the 31 years that I've spent here on this earth. Thank you, Lord, for salvation. Thank you for dying on the cross for my sins. And I just thank you for just being you. You sacrificed so much so that our sins would be forgiven. And Father, I ask that you forgive me my sins, all my past sins, all my present sins, and all my future sins. God, I ask, Lord, that you would have mercy on my soul. Forgive me of my future sins. In Romans 8:1, you said that there is no condemnation for those who are in Christ. God, I believe you are Son of God. I believe that you came to earth as a ransom for my sins, and you died on the cross and was resurrected so that I could have eternal life. And I thank you for that. Father, right now I ask that you look down on all the targeted individuals across the globe. Help them to cope with this madness. Help them to cope with this evil, ungodly program that they've been put into against their will. Help them to deal with the mental stress, the psychological stress, the physical stress, the financial strain, the emotional hardship. Help them to deal with all of that. And they can come out on the other side stronger and more victorious. And God, if this video or my actions in any way can alleviate some of that pain so that people who are target individuals today won't be target individuals tomorrow or sometime in the future, then please let that be the case, Father, and don't let my story die. Father, I want to ask for forgiveness for my actions. Please let those who are harmed in any way by my actions, give them a spirit of contentment and peace. I really am sorry. And have mercy on my soul. I love you. Amen. I'm gonna begin this video with some goodbyes. The first goodbye is to my mom, Nadine May. We had an interesting history. First and foremost, I thank you for life. Thank you for bringing me into this world, because I was clearly an accident. Your tubes were tied when I was born, so it's pretty obvious you didn't want to have any more children, and you could have just as easily aborted me, and I thank you for not doing that, because I got to live 31 long, fruitful years, and I thank you for that. And I want you to know, even though our relationship was rocky at times, I think it's good now, but even though it was rocky at times, I want you to know that I love you. And I'll always love you. And God willing, I'll be smiling down on you. And I hope that you have some peace and contentment and some happiness for the rest of your time here on this earth. I love you very much, and I thank you for all that you've done for me. Taking care of me when I was young, helping me out when I had financial stresses throughout my life. In those few times where you were a lending ear, somebody to talk to, I thank you for that too. I want to say goodbye to Granny, Grandma Lillian. I love you so much. I thank you for giving me a second chance. I really messed up, and I didn't know what I was going to do, where I was going to go. You gave me a second shot at life to have a better life. I thank you for that. And I tried to make the best of it. Really did. And I got to become a lawyer, and I got to get a college degree, and I got to graduate high school, and you got to witness that and play in sports and all those sorts of things, and you were there every step of the way, and I appreciate it. And my second chance was because of you, and I'll never forget any of the things that you did for me, because you showed me how to love somebody, and I appreciate that. I really do. You showed me the true meaning of love, that unconditional love, no matter what a person has done or is doing, that love truly conquers all things. And, I'll always love you, and I hope that you have some peace and contentment with anything that you might hear about me. I really hope you aren't too hurt by me, what you hear about me. I'm sorry. I love you. You'll always be special to me. Always. Very, very special to me. To my sister and brother, guess we always had a pretty distant relationship, so not a normal sister-brother relationship. But I know that you guys loved me. I know that you loved me very much, and you cared about me. And I loved you guys too, even though we don't talk every day. For Zoe, sometimes months on end. I know at the end of the day you still love me, and I still love you. I want you to know that. And I hope all the best for you and your families. Nikki, Zoe's wife, and Thomas, Carmena's husband. I wish you guys the best in your families, my nieces and nephews. And I hope you have some peace and contentment with anything you might hear about me. And I love you very much. To Jayla, Jakai, Taylor, and Tara, I love you all very much as well. I live so far away, and I was pretty selfish throughout my life, focused on my career and focused on gathering material things and all that sort of stuff, and I wasn't there for you the way an uncle should be. And I regret that. I want you to know I really do regret that. I regret not getting to see anybody's first walk or first words or baptisms or none of that stuff. I didn't think I got to see any of you guys' birthdays because I was so far away and so focused on Myron. And I'm sorry for that, I really am. If I could do it, go back and rewrite history, I would be there. And I would share in those special moments with you guys. But unfortunately, I don't get to do that. But know that I love you and that, God willing, I'll be smiling down from heaven at you guys. I'm praying for you. That you guys have successful lives. And nothing at all comes between your ability to have a normal life, to have a normal, prosperous life, successful life, a life that is free and uninhibited. That's my prayer. And I wish you the best. And although I guess none of you have an uncle on this side anymore, know that Uncle Myron still loves you, and I'm there in spirit, rooting for you every step of the way. To Mama Campbell, Miss Rose, I love you very much. You were there for me from my teenage years on. I appreciate it. You've always been a listening ear for me. Always. I've had several pastors since I was 13 years old when you were my pastor. Or 14 years old when you were my pastor. But I still consider you my pastor. But you're more than just my pastor. You're like a second mom. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming to high school graduation and college graduation and law school graduation and all those things. I really do. When I was down on hard times, when I needed a place to live, all that stuff, you always stepped right in and filled the gap. And I really appreciate that. And I'll never forget it. I love you very much for that. To Pops, Brother Al, I love you very much as well. I don't want to make this a somber, regretful, or any guilt trip or anything like that, so please don't take it that way, but I just wish a little bit more could have been done when I tried to reach out to you. I wish something more could have been done. I understand the way you think, your frame of mind, I get that. But a little part of me just feels like something more could have been done. That you were in a position to do something more to help me out, my issues. But even in spite of that, I thank you just the same for all that you did for me from teenage years on. Making sure I had a place to stay when I needed a place to stay, and when I had financial trouble, you even helped me out there. I thank you for that. I thank you for teaching me how to play golf. That's a pleasant memory that I'll always have. And giving me my first set of clubs, which are still my only set of clubs that never get used. Thank you for that. Thank you for showing me how to drive. My biological father wasn't there, but I would say you were about as close to a biological father. You and Uncle Wallace were about as close to a biological father that I could possibly have. And I'm grateful for what I did have in you guys. I'm sorry for anything that you might hear. I wish I could say it wasn't true, but I can't say that. To Uncle Wallace, I love you very much as well. Just the same, I didn't have a biological father. You were like a dad to me. A listening ear. We didn't always agree on things. We definitely had different viewpoints on things, but you were definitely a listening ear and a guide, a father figure for me. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you co-signing for me to get my first, well, not my first, but co-signing for me when I wanted to buy the truck, the S10, when I was in college, because I couldn't get anybody else to do it. And you definitely stepped in there just like in a father's role and made sure that I had wheels to get around and stuff like that. And it's just the little things, just the phone calls and stuff like that, just to check on me. I appreciate all that. And I love you very much. To Airborne Ranger and Stacy, I should probably do you guys separately, but I always thought about you guys as my little sisters, and I always thought about you as a collective. I for sure thought about Airborne and Ranger as a collective. I don't know if the same could hold true for Stacy. Stacy was kind of Stacy, and then it was Airborne and Ranger together. But I just the same. I love all three of you very much, my little sisters. I'm glad to see the women that you've become. I think you've become some strong, God-fearing, beautiful women inside and out. And I think that's awesome. And Azzy, I think Ramon is a great husband, and I think you made a good choice. I loved where your life was going spiritually. The relationship with Christ is so strong, and the fact that you decided to at least temporarily forego your medical career to go into the ministry, that's such a big sacrifice, but it's such a noble one. And I think it's awesome that you can make that. And if I was in your shoes, I don't know that I could have made that choice to forego my childhood dream to go into the ministry, but I think it's awesome that you did that. Ranger, I love the woman that you've become. You're strong inside and out, strong faith, a loving, compassionate person. And I wish you and Brandon the best wherever that relationship goes. And Stacy, again, I love the woman that you become. Stay strong in faith. Be a good wife to Eric, so I think you made a good choice too. He's a pretty good guy. A little bit I know about him. And I love you very much. To KJ, Keith. It's odd how our friendship began. Just randomly meeting each other one day at FAMU's campus. Because I was over there to hang out with Frat from Alpha Eta. And we came across each other because we had the same number. And started a random conversation. I didn't think that random conversation would turn into us being lifelong friends and me being the best man at your wedding and all that jazz. I would have never guessed that. Um, but I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. You were always a listening ear. Um, we had some good times, some wild times. Uh, I won't talk about all those wild times, obviously. um, but we had some good times too, and you were definitely a listening ear and a spiritual guide at times, and I appreciate that. Um, Stay strong in the faith, and don't let any temptation deter you from the man upstairs. None at all. You'll encounter some struggles in life. You've already overcome some. But at the end of the day, man, nothing is more important than that relationship with God. It's not. And take care of little KJ and LJ. I like the way you stepped into LJ's life. A disadvantaged kid. I think that's very noble, who needed a dad. You fill that role. I think that's very awesome and noble. And I hope that you continue to be the person that you are. You're a good, solid, compassionate, caring Christian man. And I hope you find a woman that fulfills all of your needs and you have a long, prosperous life together. What do we do? To Osiris. We were roommates freshman year. I've had a few roommates in my lifetime. I had one roommate, I don't even remember his name, in McCullum Hall. For the life of me, I can't remember what the guy's name even is. But at least one roommate I can say, I will never forget his name, and that is you, Jose. You are a different kind of dude, to say the least, but you are a special friend. One thing I can say about you is that you will never, you always know where you stand with Jose. You are genuine. You are truly genuine. You're a jokester, but you are truly a genuine person, genuine friend. No sugarcoating. And always keep that, man. Always keep that. No matter what. Don't let anybody steal that from you. I know you have dreams and aspirations in life. I won't dig into that. But hope all of that comes true for you. And keep the faith, man. Keep the faith. And I wish you the best. And I love you. No homo. That's inside. I'm not being homophobic. That's an inside thing. To Marcette, you are a special friend as well. We were one of only 3 black economics majors in the entire econ department at FSU, which was odd, given that there were 5,000 African American students at FSU. But you were a special friend, not just because we were both econ majors, but because that's how we met. But that friendship blossomed into so much more. I would have never thought that when we were sitting in the back of microeconomic theory, that one day we would become friends and I'd get to meet your mom and get to stay in your home at one point. And, we visit each other in our various cities and wow, that friendship became so much more than what I would have ever anticipated from us sharing notes in microeconomic theory class. And I hope that you find, I know you've been looking for a while, but I hope that you get to find that special man of your dreams that you get to love and cherish. So I know you're going to be an amazing wife to some lucky man. You're going to be an amazing wife to some lucky man. And he's out there. Don't give up. Don't give up hope and faith in that. He is out there. To Ebony and Aaliyah, I want you to know I love you very much. Ebony, I have some regret about the way I treated our relationship. I was pretty selfish, and I realize that now. How selfish I was, just being focused on my career and not giving our relationship the care and attention that it deserved. I think it could have been much better if I would have done that. And I have some regrets about that. I'm sorry. But you're a special woman, and I hope that you get to find a special man that will make you happy, and you'll make him happy. And Aaliyah, know that Daddy loves you. I'm sorry that when me and Ebony broke up that I disappeared for a while. Some things about that you probably don't understand now, but I think years later when you look back, you may understand. Just know that I didn't stop caring about you. I didn't stop loving you. I was just trying to make some decisions that in hindsight weren't necessarily the best decisions to make for you and for your nurturing and self-esteem, and I apologize for that. But I love you very much, and I want you to grow up and you're already so smart, and I'm sure that's not going to change, but I want you to grow up and be a beautiful, strong, God-fearing woman. And I hope that gets to be the case. So Althea, I apologize for a lot of the things I did when we were dating in college. And I'll just say flat out, I mistreated you. I really did. But I was young and I was dumb, and I didn't know any better. You've had a lot of struggles in life. A lot of struggles. With your incident when you were a teenager, to relationship with me, to relationships since then, to job issues, to health issues. You've had a lot of struggles, and I just hope that, I know you have a special calling on your life, and I just hope that God gives you some peace and happiness. Some extended peace and happiness at some point while you're here on this earth. And I love you. To Danielle, I'm sorry. Just say I'm sorry because, at the time I didn't really think about it, but I was very dishonest with myself, and I was very dishonest with you. I honestly feel like I probably wasted 2 years of your life. At least, just a year and a half of your life. and I'm sorry for that. Um, that was pure selfishness. Pure selfishness. I hope you get to find that special man that you're looking for. You get to have a fruitful life and relationship. And I hope that you get to find some contentment in your career too. I know that's been an issue for you. To my goddaughter Malia. Malia, I hope you get to grow up and be a strong woman, a strong God-fearing woman, and be. You're so smart. I hope you continue to do well in school, and that you get to meet some special man and have a long, fruitful life. You're so smart. You have a wonderful mom in Shauna. She loves you guys so much. And I love you so much. And I'm sorry that I wasn't there as much as I should have been as a goddad. I always cherish the Thanksgiving that we spent together 2 years ago when I went to DC. We got to spend a few days with each other. That was an awesome experience. You were like my own little daughter. That was an awesome experience, and I'll never forget that. I really won't. And I hope you don't forget it either. I apologize for, first off, bringing you guys up, but some U Epsilon chapter of Phi Beta Sigma, I want to say I love the chapter so much. I hate that I have to mention you on this video because it's kind of a disparaging way to mention you guys. But I love the chapter so much, and I hope it continues to flourish and do great things for the community. And yeah, I'm sorry I have to mention it in this video, but this video is about good vibes and good vibes to things that matter. And this New Epsilon matters to me. It really does. To Mr. David and Miss Abby, I'll start with Mr. David. Mr. David, I thank you for always being a listening ear when I would come home and we would have our little prayer sessions together. I really appreciate that. You were like a dad. I'm glad we had those times together. You were the only judge that I knew personally for years. So when I would come home, it was just kind of, and I wanted to be a lawyer, it was just natural to want to come see you and talk to you. I thank you for the prayers all throughout life. And I thank you for most recently the time that we spent together most recently. You're special. You'll always be special to me, and I love you. The same holds true for you too, Miss Abby. You'll always be special to me, and I love you. And I thank you guys for not judging me, for taking a chance on me and not judging me and giving me an opportunity to try to get things back on track. I'm thinking about the Myron you knew and always known, and not the Myron that you didn't so much understand recently when I came back home. You have no idea how much you helped me, because I didn't know what I was going to do, where I was going to go. You helped me tremendously, and I'm sorry that I didn't get to help you in the same way. Please forgive me for that. But the stresses right now in my life is kind of had me in a position where I couldn't do what I needed to do or what I wanted to do to help you guys. And I'm sorry, but I love you and forgive me. Now I'm starting part 3 of my personal story as a targeted individual. I want to give you an explanation as to why I'm making this video and explain some of my actions that led up to this video and that will transpire after this video. First and foremost, I want to let you know this is a very difficult decision for me. It's not something that came easy. I spent the better part of a week thinking about this. I didn't choose to become a targeted individual. No one chooses to be a targeted individual. If he gang stalked, no one chooses to be tormented psychologically. No one chooses to be tormented physically. No one chooses to be tormented emotionally or financially. Nobody chooses that. Somebody else chooses it for them, and it's not fair. This is an ungodly, evil program that literally robs you of the very essence of what life is supposed to be. You're supposed to have the ability to rise and fall on your own merits, on your own efforts in life, and not be inhibited by some evil program that's designed for God knows what, research purposes, experimentation, I don't know. But that's not what life is supposed to be. Life is not supposed to be people sitting in a control room manipulating how you live day to day, moment by moment. That's not what life is supposed to be. So literally, I feel like not just my hands are tied, but like everything about me is tied. I feel like I'm literally in a straitjacket in a standing room only space, fighting just to breathe. And it's not fair. I don't get to have a normal life because I'm a targeted individual. I don't get to have a wife and kids and a career where I get to rise and fall on my own merits. That's not what targeted individuals get. What we get is grief and pain and hardship and loneliness. And it's not fair. So the purpose of this video is in hopes that when all is said and done, that maybe some other targeted individuals in the United States and possibly even elsewhere will have a shot at maybe living the normal life that I didn't get to live. Because it's not fair. And maybe somebody else will have a shot at a fair life. I hope that my story gets some media attention, and that targeted individuals will capitalize, at least here in the United States, will capitalize on that media attention. And that'll give them a better shot at a normal life. And the biggest reason why I'm doing this is that for me, I'm already here. I'm already at this point. I'm already a targeted individual. I've already been subjected to torture. For other targeted individuals, they're in the same boat. They're already there. They're already on that list. They're already subjected to torture. But if this program can stop, then maybe, just maybe, other people won't be subjected to this. They won't have to be tortured psychologically and physically and financially and emotionally. Maybe. And that's my hope. That's what this is about. So right now I want to talk to the elected officials in the world here. Well, not in the world, but here in the United States. The senators, the House of Representatives, state and local government. If you get to view this, I challenge you to not just dismiss me and the stories of other targeted individuals as people having mental illness, but to seriously consider the story and consider the possibility that the story could be true, that it could be real. I challenge you to seriously give it some research. Research it yourselves. Have your aides and assistants research it. I challenge you to open an investigation. Pass a bill, pass a resolution so that an investigation can be opened. Establish a commission that will look into bioethics and the treatment of targeted individuals, and not just dismiss it as these are schizophrenic people or these are people with suffering from psychosis or some other mental illness, because that is not the case. We are subjected to torture daily. And I challenge you. You took an oath. You took an oath to uphold the Constitution. I mean, you have a duty to see to it that every American has a shot at the pursuit of happiness. For life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness. You took an oath to that. And I challenge you to fight tooth and nail to see to it that every American citizen has a shot at that. Because as a targeted individual, you do not. You don't. You have a shot at a half-life. You have a shot at something that is less than life, liberty, and property in the pursuit of happiness. That's what you have a shot at as a targeted individual. So I challenge you, elected officials, to do something. To do something that matters in the lives of your constituents and people across this country. To the media, I challenge you also to research and investigate this issue. Give it a real investigation, too. Don't just dismiss it as mental illness. Don't draw conclusions based on ignorance. Don't substitute taglines and lazy journalism for doing the real work that you're supposed to do, which is to look deeply into an issue and give both sides of it. Not just surface stories, but research the technology. Dig deeper. Question the FBI. Question the CIA. Question the NSA. Question the military. Question your government. That's what you're supposed to do. And I challenge you to do that. I challenge you to revisit this issue every single year, because it deserves that much. I challenge you for once to do something a little bit different than what's done during campaign season, where we just get little blurbs and snippets from people's campaign speeches, but to really dig deep and make a difference. That's what your role should be, and that's what I hope it will be for this particular situation. To those who participated in my stalking, knowingly and unknowingly, I want to start out with Marshall and Monica Johnson. I gotta be honest, man, it hurt. What you did to me hurt, because you were like family. To Elaine Laura in Las Cruces, I challenge you to come forward. I don't know I know you had financial issues and job issues, making money. You had a house to pay for and stuff like that. You had to support yourself. But look, I don't know what was told to you or anything like that, but I do know that whatever was told to you to make you interact with me in the way that you did, it was a lie. To Buddy Parker and Weewah Hitchka, I honestly think you're an insider. And you're supposed to be a Christian, man. And that hurts. Because if one part of the body, in Corinthians it says if one part of the body is hurting, the whole body is hurting. And I'm paraphrasing. I mean, I don't know it by heart. But I do know that stalking someone and tormenting someone to the point where they would even consider this that's not Christ-like, man. That's not Christ-like at all. To my cousins, Roy Myers and Clifford Jones, what you did hurt, man. There's no amount of money that would make me turn my back on my family, man. Seriously. There's no amount of money whatsoever that would make me turn my back on my family. And, look, I don't know why you did what you did. I don't know if it was money. I don't know if it was blackmail, but I know it hurt. And some of you may not realize that you were participating in this evil, ungodly program. If you didn't know, look, I get it, I understand, and I forgive you. But if you knew and you did it anyway, look, man, I hope you ask for forgiveness. I hope you get things straight. And I hope God has mercy on your soul, man, because it wasn't right. In a weird way, you're responsible for everything that happens. Everything that happens in relation to this video. And to be honest with you, everything that happens in relation to every targeted individual, because you're part of the problem. Every targeted individual that's suffering, every person that's suffering as a result of a targeted individual's actions, you are part of the problem. So with that, I challenge you to come forward and tell your story about how you got involved. Don't let threats, whether it's financial threats or threats on your life or any sort of threats, impede you from coming forward. Don't let money, don't let a bribe impede you from coming forward. Don't let fear stop you from coming forward, because it matters that much. Stand for something. To Veronica Avilar in Las Cruces, the probation officer. Look, I don't know what you knew or what you didn't know. I don't know if you honestly had anything to do with the program or not. I know you lived across from me in an apartment, and I know when this all started, you started to act very strange towards me. So if you were involved in some way, please come forward. Just the same. Come forward. I hope somebody will question you about your role. I hope somebody will question all the people I just mentioned about their roles and what happened to me. To Deputy Jamar Cotton, frat, I think you're a really good dude. Like, you have a genuine, compassionate heart for people. You do so much for the community, and you don't have to. You just do it out of the goodness of your heart, and I appreciate that. Continue to be that good person, man. I know that you're you're an officer already. I know that you're trying to become a Mason, and the Masonry is very active in this program. It is. And, I don't know if that's just happenstance because so many police officers are Masons, but it's active. And look, man, I challenge you to keep that good heart, man, to keep that compassion, to keep that caring for others, and not get involved in something like this, man, because, look, man, good people don't have a place in anything like this, man. This hurts. This causes a lot of pain and a lot of damage to a lot of people, and it hurts. To Dr. Robert Duncan, I know you probably thought at the time you were doing something good, you were doing something positive, you were on the cutting edge of research in your particular field, in your particular area of expertise. Um, but know that you caused a lot of pain and a lot of hardship to a lot of people. Um, Targeted individuals are tortured every single day because of what you participated in, what you helped to create. So you have a special responsibility to eradicate this. You have a special responsibility to eradicate this, to come forward and do everything within your power. I mean, honestly, man, you shouldn't get a moment's sleep until this is done, till this is dead, till this is completely eliminated. Because it's because of you. And I want to encourage everybody out there so that you have an understanding that this is not just mental illness, this is not psychosis, this is not schizophrenia. I want to challenge each and every one of you to pick up Dr. Robert Duncan's book, Project Soul Catcher, Secrets of Cyber and Cybernetic Warfare Revealed, and then you'll know that this is real. This is real. I also want to encourage you guys to look at some of the other prominent people who have played a role in assisting targeted individuals or in uncovering gang stalking. I'm just going to check off some of the names. Ted Gunderson, he's died and gone to glory, but he's a former senior FBI agent who became a targeted individual himself after exposing some of the secrets of this program. Dr. John Hall and Dr. Terry Anderson, they're pretty prominent voices for speaking out in favor of targeted individuals and eliminating gang stalking. Renee Pittman Mitchell, she's a targeted individual herself in California. She's written several books on targeted individuals and our struggles. She gives advice to other targeted individuals. So to any targeted individual out there, I'm not just plugging her books, but check out her books. Maybe it will help you deal with your own struggles, your own plight as a targeted individual. Deborah Tavares and Derek Robinson, they're targeted individuals themselves. Derek Robinson is very instrumental in an organization called FFCHS, Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance. This organization is dedicated to helping targeted individuals and not just helping targeted individuals, but trying to get rid of gang stalking in this program as a whole, just eliminate it altogether. Check out these organizations and you'll start to realize that, there is a lot more going on underneath the surface than what we know. It's so easy as citizens to get caught up in our own individual worlds that we don't think about stuff like this, but this is very real and it's very painful for a lot of people. To all the targeted individuals out there, know that I feel your pain. I know that you're hurting mentally, financially, physically, emotionally. I know that you're hurting. And I admire your strength and courage to keep fighting the good fight. Hang in there, stay strong. There's a little bit of shame in me that I don't have the same strength and courage that you have. I wish I did. I wish my faith was that strong. The Bible says that if you have mustard seed faith, that you could say to a mulberry tree, "Be thou uprooted from the ground and plant it in the sea." And you already know you can't really plant a tree in flowing water, but that's all it takes is that little bit of faith, and it'll work. But I'm sorry that I didn't have that amount of faith. I'm really sorry that I didn't have that amount of faith. Targeted individuals, don't let any death in relation to this video be in vain. If there's any media exposure that comes from this, make sure that you capitalize on it. This is your opportunity to tell your story. You're on the lower rungs of the social economic ladder. Most of you don't have money for advertisement to get media attention. And most of you are ignored. Most of you are dismissed as mentally ill, either schizophrenic or psychotic or paranoid or all those sorts of things. But now is your opportunity to come forward to say, hey, look at me. I'm a target individual, and this is what I experience. This is real. Don't miss that opportunity. Now is not the time to be Googling shielding techniques and Googling all those things that you tend to focus on to just survive. Now is the time to come forward and say, look, this is real. I am one. Stop it. I challenge you guys to come together as a collective, to band together. Divide and conquer is one of the strategies that they use for targeted individuals, because if they can keep us isolated and keep us separate, then we don't have very much of a voice. Separate, we have a very weak voice, but together we have a very loud cry. So come together. Don't let any promises of better treatment or money or anything like that cause you to do something ill to your brother and sister who is a targeted individual. I'm praying for you, know that. And please pray for my soul as well, that I can go to glory. I don't want to spend my eternity in hell as a result of being in this targeted individual program. I don't. I didn't, just like you, I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask for this. It was something that was thrust upon me against my will. Also, I want to let you know that I'm sending a packet to several of my friends with this video and letters and other documentation in relation to my experiences as a targeted individual and stuff like that. But one of the letters in that packet is a letter to Congress. It's a letter to Congress asking them to once and for all do something about gang stalking. I encourage all of you to try to get your hands on a copy of that letter, or make your own, or find some petition or something to get to your 2 United States senators and the House of Representatives for your particular district, and all of your state and local government officials, and say, hey, do something. Do something. Encourage your friends and family and coworkers and acquaintances to do the same thing, to sign this letter. And please don't let my story die. Don't let this video die. Don't let any documentation die. Post it and repost it as much as you can on YouTube, on Vimeo, on GodTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, post it on your friends' accounts on Twitter and Facebook, Reddit, Pinterest, everywhere you can. Don't let it die. To the families of anyone impacted as a result of anything in relation to this video, I know you probably don't want to hear anything I have to say. I know you probably don't care what I have to say. I know you probably wish me ill will, and that I burn in hell. But I want to ask you to forgive me. And I hope that at some point you'll find it in your heart to forgive me. I really do. I hope that part on the Our Father prayer rings true. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And that you'll forgive me. I know you probably think that I'm crazy or mentally ill or schizophrenic or psychotic, but I'm not. I'm perfectly sane. Unfortunately, my faith is weak, and in my carnal mind, this was the best I could come up with to fight. It may not be the best method, and I'm sorry about that, but this is what I got. This is the avenue that I took. To the families that were harmed by other targeted individuals, 2 in particular that come to mind, Jiverly Wong and Aaron Alexis. These were active shooters who were also targeted individuals. You have a special reason to not let my story die and to keep fighting to get rid of this program. You have a special reason because you lost loved ones as a result of this program. You didn't lose loved ones as a result of schizophrenia. You didn't lose loved ones as a result of mental illness or psychosis. You lost loved ones as a result of someone going crazy because they were tormented because of this evil, ungodly program. And if you can dig and dig and dig and push Congress and push the media and push everybody to not give up on this story and uncover it, then maybe you can get some just compensation for your loss. And I encourage you to do that. I challenge you to do that. To everyone else, Martin Luther King, one of his quotes is, "The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people." Now, you don't oppress targeted individuals, most of you, the vast majority of you, and you're not cruel to targeted individuals. But if you're listening to this video, watching this video, or if you hear about my story, then you know that it's real now, or at least have an idea that it may be real. And you don't have a reason to be silent anymore. Your silence is literally, at that point, an ultimate tragedy, just like Dr. King said. I don't expect there to be a lot of silence over any lives that are lost. I don't expect there to be a lot of silence over any people that might be injured. I don't expect there to be very much silence about any emotional pain that people experience. And there shouldn't be any silence about those things. But likewise, there shouldn't be any silence about the oppression and cruelty that targeted individuals experience every single day. So please don't be silent about the psychological pain. Please don't be silent about the physical pain. Please don't be silent about the emotional pain. And please don't be silent about the financial pain that targeted individuals experience. Because just like those other things don't deserve silence, we don't deserve silence either. I'm sure that many of you will call me crazy, psychotic, schizophrenic, mentally ill. And you're entitled to your opinions, even though that they're wrong. But I want to challenge you all not to just jump to a mental health conclusion. I want to challenge you not to make a conclusion based on ignorance without any facts. I want to challenge you to think outside the box. I want to challenge you to ask questions. Ask questions of your government. Ask questions of every arm of your government, every agency, the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, state and local law enforcement. Ask questions. Be a skeptic. I want to challenge you to allow your humanity and curiosity to supersede your ignorance. Because right now, and I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but right now, ignorance is just simply a lack of knowledge, not knowing. There are a lot of unknowns with regard to this right now. Because it's complicated, it's difficult to understand, and it's hard to believe. But it's real. Don't remain ignorant. Don't choose willful ignorance and just make conclusions. Because that's the ultimate tragedy. And if you do that, know that you'll be helping thousands of American citizens just like me, and quite frankly, who are just like you. You'll be helping them to have a chance at a normal life, the life that you have, one where you get to rise and fall on your own efforts and your own merits. And after all the loss associated with this. After all the loss, think about that. Think about all the loss and then ask yourself, is it worth accepting those challenges? So I think if you think about the loss and ask yourself that question, the only answer that you can come to is yes, a resounding yes. And lastly, my message to God, this one will not be in the form of a prayer, although it is pretty much a prayer that's been on my heart for the better part of a week. Father, forgive me for what I'm about to do. Forgive me for all of my sins, past sins, present sins, any future sins. I'm sorry that my faith was so weak. Romans 8:38 through 39 says, "For I am convinced that neither death nor life, nor neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord." And Romans 8:1 says, "There is no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus." Father, I really hope that those two scriptures hold true for me and for my soul. I don't want to be separated from you. And I don't want to be condemned for eternity, for anything I've done, for anything I'm doing now, for anything I may do in the future. I don't want to be separated. I don't want to be condemned. So anybody watching this video, pray for me that those two scriptures ring true, that I won't be condemned and that I won't be separated from God. And lastly, Father, I do believe that you are the Son of God. Jesus, I do believe that you're the Son of God. I do believe that you came to this earth as a man to live the life pure and holy, without spot or wrinkle, no blemishes. And that you died as a ransom for my sins and the sins of everybody. I believe that you are a Savior. And I believe that you died for all of our sins, past, present, and future, God. And I hope that, Lord, you will forgive me and have mercy on my soul. I love you, and I thank you for the 31 years that you gave me. Amen. And that is the end of my personal story as a targeted individual. Please, anybody out there watching this, if you're watching this, I mean this with utmost sincerity. This is real. This is not fake. This is not mental illness. This is not a joke. This is serious. Please don't let my story die. Please.